Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, attraction coach and founder of The Goddess Next Door. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. Dorell is a third-generation healer, certified angel therapy practitioner with Doreen Virtue, numerologist, Reiki master, and former radio host. She helps powerful women feel confident and magnetic in their relationships, starting with themselves. She's the founder of the Angel Reiki Renewal Institute, has led workshops on how to trust your intuition all over the U.S., and was recently a speaker at the State of Now conference in New York City, along with Deepak Chopra, Ann Curry, and many others. She's passionate about helping people connect with their intuition and helping them have amazing relationships. But before I talk with Deanna today, I want to have a heart-to-heart with you. There was always something I wanted so deeply that eluded me no matter what I did. And there was a point when I wasn't even sure it was possible. That was finding true love. For years, I struggled to get my relationships right, and I can tell you from experience, it's not about how much you know or how many degrees you have. It takes a lot more than that. I found myself emotionally entangled with the passive guy, the unmotivated guy, and the emotionally unavailable guy who couldn't or wouldn't commit. And all of my relationships ended in heartbreak. I was getting really frustrated, and I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. Now, looking back, I see what was happening. Deep down, I didn't feel worthy of love. It was in that moment when I made a decision. I was no longer willing to settle. I was done attracting those types of men into my life, so I knew that I needed to make a change. I knew it could be done, because I had seen other women who had the fairy tale, and I wanted it too. So I put everything I knew to the test. Over time, I learned what worked and what didn't. I boiled it down to the most powerful things that worked, and I was truly ready to allow myself to have love I always wanted. Here's what happened. I walked myself step by step through what is now the Love Spark program, and I met an amazing man within 30 days. Our story is mind-blowing, and every day our relationship unfolds with more and more excitement and fulfillment of my ultimate dream of true love. Maybe you're where I was just 8 months ago. Maybe you lost the faith that you can meet someone amazing who gets you, where it's not a struggle to be in a relationship with them, or where it's just simply one-sided. If you're ready for love, join me over at the Spark Society, where I'll teach you the exact steps I took to fall in love with my soulmate. Registration ends soon, so come on over today and join me for the Love Spark program. Welcome, Deanna, to the Awakened Goddess Show. I'm excited and so happy to have you joining me today. I know you are a fellow intuitive goddess, so we're going to be talking about love, and love is like one of my most favorite topics to talk about. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So, you have a pretty interesting story and background. So I would love for the listeners to know you a little bit more before we jump in. So how did you get into the angel therapy work, and more specifically in relationships?
Love it. So, I was never one of those goddesses who was all about angels and spirituality forever and ever. I feel like I've always been kind of a natural skeptic. And it wasn't until I had an incident happen with an angel in San Francisco that totally turned me the other way. And I believe that everybody is intuitive. You know, I grew up in a family of healers and psychics, but I really was conscious that that was weird. And that if you wanted to fit in, like, you don't talk about that stuff. So in my early 20s, I was living in San Francisco in the Haight-Ashbury district, totally hippieville. And I was dating a guy who lived in San Diego. And I'll never forget this one night, Angela, and I couldn't get a cab to save my life. And I was going to miss my flight. Oh, God. And I remember looking up into the sky and saying, I heard that I can call on you, Archangel Michael. I don't know if I believe in you, but I really need a cab. Uh-huh. And within 2 minutes, this cab pulled up in the rain. I was like totally shocked. And this man in a 3-piece business suit steals the cab. Like totally just like comes in front of me like it was like an FU from the universe. Yeah. And I was starting to cry. And at the light, something that I never thought would happen. The cab driver actually kicked the business guy out, reversed back to me, and he said, "Get in, little lady, you saw me first." And the whole way across the Bay Bridge, I was just like tingling and my body was like alive. And when he dropped me off, he looked back and he said, "I told you you'd be okay. You're in Michael's cab."
Oh, I love it.
I was like, oh my God, I believe now.
Yeah, if that's not a turning point, I don't know what is. That's, yeah. Wow. And so then that was like, sounds like that was like the beginning of a whole new chapter for you.
A whole new life, you know. I left the world of professional acting and started taking intuition classes, found out about Doreen, and ended up getting certified with her in Hawaii. And I found that when I was doing readings with people, I kind of knew what was coming before the cards went down. And I went to a little metaphysical shop in Berkeley, and I walked in, and I was so nervous. And I said, "I just got back from Hawaii. I just got certified with Doreen. I don't really know why I'm here, but I want to teach about angels." And the woman behind the counter just smiled. I'd been coming there for like a couple years and just to read, you know, in my little corner. And she said, "I've been waiting a year for you to say that." Oh, wow. And so everything took off and I started teaching and got a radio show and a TV show. And as they say, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Just in that moment of you hailing a cab and how it all changes like that. Yeah, I think that that's just interesting because I think we have experiences throughout our life like that, but until we're conscious and kind of aware that things like that are happening, we can easily miss them.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy because we get bogged down in our day-to-day, in just the challenges we perceive in our life, and we forget that there is something bigger than all of us out there guiding us. Yeah. That you don't have to push for it. It's available to all of us all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Because I can speak from my own personal experience. It took me, I don't know how many years, many, many, many years, to realize the whole thing about pushing and that I didn't have to figure it out and just like shove through things to make them happen. So I think that is always a strong point to reiterate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm curious, maybe you can clarify this. When we're talking about angels versus intuition, how do we know it's one versus the other?
That is a great question. And, you know, with intuition, I consider it to be a muscle. It's like going to the gym. It's this like visceral feeling or this, voice that you hear in your head. I mean, we all perceive our messages differently. Mm-hmm. With angels, they appear to us through similar channels that our intuitive messages come through. The difference, and this is just from my personal experience, is you'll get a feeling of extra lightness, extra buoyancy, and if your primary channel is of clairvoyance or seeing or you're sensitive to colors, you may notice orbs around. So just little washes of white light that almost look like somebody turned on their high beams for a second or two. And, and there's different markers for different archangels. So I know if Archangel Gabriel's around, for example, I may have a certain, lyric in my head for days because she comes to me through auditory, and I'll pay attention. What are the lyrics? What is she trying to tell me? And when I finally identify that, my whole energy field gets really light, almost like I'm kind of floating. And so I think it becomes a practice. I think the intuitive piece comes first, and that has to do with unraveling the logical mind and really taking your energy into a different space and using the mind as the servant versus the leader. And then once you're comfortable with that process, then your energy is more sensitive to these spiritual beings, angels, spirit guides, what have you.
Yeah. So it sounds like tapping into your own inner wisdom and that intuition is really important if you're wanting to connect with the unseen world.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. Yes. I have so many people that are like, I can't see my angels. What's wrong with me? I'm like, well, are you relaxed or are you stressing? Are you worried or are you open? And it's like, they're not going to come in unless it's a do or die situation or you ask.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as you're saying that, it's interesting because when you're looking at angels or fairies or whoever, whatever beings, you can't have a super focus to see them because then you're looking at the physical world, the reality that we see here in the physical. So that's a great point.
Exactly. Staying open,
yeah. Yeah. So speaking of being open, let's jump to relationships. And you have to be so open to have an amazing relationship. So using angels and our intuition in our relationships, how can we start using them more in our life to help guide us into and through our relationships, romantically especially?
Yes. So relationships are one of those things that, if we don't have love or we don't feel like we have love, it's like there's some part of us that's missing. Mm-hmm. It's walking around like, what? Like, I have this yearning, I have this desire. Where is he or where is she? And the angels understand that. So with people listening to this that are single and wanting to call in that soulmate, what I would say is really get clear on which energy you want to be. Do you want to be primary, dominant, like focused, directive, or do you want to be more of the feminine energy? And this is something I see a lot with, entrepreneurs, because we're so good at the masculine. We're so good at getting stuff done. And in romantic relationships, if you want to attract a masculine man, that actually works against you. Mm-hmm. So the intuitive piece to help you kind of, leave the workday behind. There are certain angels that you can call on to help you sink into your feminine. And when I say sink into your feminine, I don't mean like go and like put on makeup and like put your frilly dresses on necessarily. Yeah. It's more about just creating a receptive space for things to come to you and getting really clear on what you desire and then just magnetizing that to you in this like delicious softness that's irresistible to men and is actually, it's our natural state. So, for romance specifically, I would call on Archangel Jophiel, and that's spelled Jophiel. And the easiest way to call these angels in is just to talk to them like I'm talking to you, like a girlfriend, and just say, these are the problems, these are the worries in my heart. Help me let go of control. I don't know how to do that. And just being really honest with them. And then at the end, just say something like, thank you so much for pointing me to the next right action. I'm surrendering all the pressure to you. I give this situation to you. And so you can call on Jophiel. And then also if you've gone through a breakup, and you're experiencing some heartache or some tension to move forward, you can call on Archangel Raphael, who's the Archangel of Healing. And his color is like a beautiful emerald green. So you can just picture this green energy just washing over your heart, giving you courage, to go on that new date or to have that uncomfortable conversation with your ex or whatever it is that you feel is holding you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So I'll definitely put that in the notes so people know how to connect. That's awesome. So let's take this a whole nother step deeper. And, there are many points in relationships. And I would like to kind of talk about each of those and how we can tap into our intuition to guide us in knowing, is this the one, or is there something off here, and help us kind of navigate through that. So are you game for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so starting off, talking to the ladies and the guys. And there might be a few guys out there that listen to the show as well. But talking to the single ladies, you said this is the month of love, right? Valentine's Day is coming up, and say there are no prospects in sight, and you really want to have or find that true love. So how would a woman kind of use her intuition at that point to find love?
I love it. So the first thing that comes to me is declutter. Mm-hmm. And not just in a traditional sense, like get rid of old stuff from your old partners, which, yes, I'm just assuming that you've done that. But taking it a step further is looking at where you have that running tape of, I'm too old, or I'm too heavy, or I'm there's something wrong with me. All those little things that we tell ourselves, just literally write them on a piece of paper so you can see them for what they are, which are your inner saboteurs. Mm-hmm. And do some kind of a ritual to acknowledge, bless, and release them. One that I love is, Ho'oponopono. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. With each one of those statements, maybe light a candle, do a dance, burn the piece of paper, do something symbolic that feels right for you, to clear that space or that part of you that is clinging to those really archaic, limiting thoughts. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing I would recommend. And then the second thing is to kind of shift from making a list of these are the things he has to have to these are the qualities that I want to bring mm-hmm. to a relationship. So it's kind of shifting your mentality from what some man or some woman has to give you to what delicious offerings are you willing to bring to the table? Mm-hmm. And when you can see those, man, there's something that happens energetically that opens you up because you're no longer putting out this desperate vibe. You're going to gift somebody something, and you will find that the people that come into your space are going to mirror those back to you. So let's say mm-hmm. one of your things is generosity of spirit. How can you exude generosity of spirit in your everyday life? Leading up to Valentine's Day, it wouldn't surprise me if you met somebody before Valentine's Day with that energy. Yeah. So that's what I would say for step 2. And then the last tip I can give you that's coming is to really prepare yourself for their arrival. Mm-hmm. So one I guess mantra, if you will, that I really love is the perfect partner has already been selected for me. I am grateful to receive him or her in the perfect right time. Beautiful. And you just say that every day. I have my clients put it on an index card and put it by their nightstand, mm-hmm. just so they remember. And then you behave as if, he's already coming. And you that's where the fun process begins. It's like you look in your closet. It's like, if he saw me wearing this, would I feel proud of myself? No. Okay, it goes.
Yeah.
Do I have 2 nightstands in my room? Do I have space for him to come in? Okay. All of the practical stuff is so important,
Yes.
but it's got to come after all the inner work. That's what most people forget.
True. That is so true. Yeah, I mean, if you're putting out, just like the first thing you spoke about, if you're putting out that vibe of where is he, where is my soulmate? Yeah, I mean, that's like that pushing energy. He's going to be running as fast as he can in the other direction.
Yes, because wouldn't we, right? If
Yeah.
somebody was like, hey, are you it? Can you come live with me? It's like, really?
Yeah. But I think we've all been there, right?
Oh, I totally raised my hand, and that's why I feel like qualified to give this advice. I've made all the mistakes.
I hear you, sister. We teach
well, we have to learn.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, so moving on to, you've met someone and you feel, I guess let's take this 2 ways. I want to break this down. So let's start with the person that is questionable. So you meet someone and you're kind of like, they seem fun to hang out with, but, and then there's the X, Y, and Z, kind of like that settling energy. So how would you approach that, and how would a woman kind of tap in and be able to know if, this is really not him, or is this this could be him kind of thing? You know what I'm saying?
That's a great question. So, I'm going to answer this a couple different ways. First, you got to identify what your common saboteurs are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're used to going for the sexy, physical chemistry guy, and then you get, kind of average looking guy who's really interesting, then your saboteur may say he's not the one because he's not creating this kind of anxiety hormonal thing. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to know yourself pretty well and identify those red flags, and that can be really hard to do alone.
Yes.
So
especially when especially when you're really wanting that relationship, and Valentine's Day, nobody wants to be single.
Right. We're like anything that looks sort of normal, we're going out with them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I would just be gentle with yourself and look at that first. And then, if we're talking about somebody that you've been dating for a while and you're still kind of on the fence, like look at what your bottom lines are, because 9 times out of 10, it's like you kind of knew it already, but you were hoping it would change.
Oh,
so
God, isn't that true? Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, well, I could kind of work with that.
Yes.
But if it's coming up over and over again and like this subtle nagging feeling, then that's telling you, okay, I can either take this person completely as he is and find an outlet for that other need or that other desire elsewhere in terms of like my friends or my whatever hobbies. But if it's something that when you think, I'm going to sit next to this person day after day and like you just always feel that low level anxiety, then you have to listen to that. That's your intuition kicking in. And there's graceful ways to exit that kind of a relationship that leaves both people feeling respected and heard. Mm-hmm. But, the last thing I would say there is if you feel a combination of fear and excitement, then it could be that you're just pushing through a little internal resistance and you may want to hang in there a little longer.
Yes.
So the easiest way that I tell my clients is, are you ready to run out the door or are you ready to walk out the door? If you're running out the door, you're probably running from yourself. Mm. And I would advise you, there's something you may need to look at within yourself if you don't want to repeat that with the next guy. If you're ready to walk, then that tells me, okay, there's like a piece that comes with this ending or this transition. Mm-hmm. And then it just becomes a matter of the language to end the relationship or to shift the relationship.
Sure. Yeah, those are great suggestions. Great points. Okay, so switching to the you meet this guy and you think he's the one, but then because you've never experienced this before, it is really scary. It's like you feel like your intuition is moving you in that direction. It feels really good, but then there's the, oh my God, what's going on? This is so easy and feels so good. What happens if they change their mind? Or, those kind of things.
Yes. That is totally normal. And it's part of the phase, right? It's part of the phase of a deeper intimacy. And it's amazing how much we run from intimacy with ourselves, let alone another person. So if you see that happening, you can call in the angels. You can take more time than you normally would to just be still for a few minutes, especially in the morning, early morning. There's something about it. I don't know. And you just acknowledge it and just say, you know what? I see myself being afraid. I see myself wanting to push back, and I need your help. Help me embrace this man's love fully because I can't do it by myself. Help me know if I'm going in the wrong direction and give me the courage to stop or give me the courage to keep going. I surrender as much as I can, because when we let go, amazing things can happen. And it's really that it becomes the test of, can I let go of control? Am I willing to?
Yeah, and that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Especially for us independent women that are entrepreneurs, and we've been in control and we've figured things out. And then, yes, our heart opens up. We meet someone. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah, exactly. So just know there's nothing wrong with you. That's the other thing. We start qualifying it. Or, start obsessing or overanalyzing. And it's like, all right, I have this thought. I have this fear. Let's move with it.
Yeah.
See what happens. It's an experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. Experimenting, I think, is that is the perfect suggestion, because, if it's not something you are used to or you felt before, and it feels a little scary or whatever, it's like, just take it and see what happens, and allow yourself to just relax into that uncomfortable feeling, especially if your intuition is saying, yes, this is the real thing. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so not to rain on the parade, but I figure we might as well throw in here the long-term relationship or a longer relationship where it's kind of hit its peak and now it's kind of fading out, and you're questioning, you know what, I'm feeling like this is no longer a relationship I should be in, or that kind of angsty point where there's conflict and maybe you're growing apart. How would you address that?
The word safe comes up. What is going to help you feel safe? What do you need to feel safe if you left? Because I see a lot of people making decisions based on a fear of losing XYZ. Yes. Their lifestyle, their home, whatever, clothes, who knows?
Yeah. All that tangible stuff, right?
Yeah. So, we might as well work with it. So I'm a big fan of lists, make a list. What is it that you're afraid of losing if you left? And look at how you can start satisfying that within yourself. If it's the money thing, you're used to relying on them for money, then this is an opportunity for you to show yourself what you're made of. How can you add more value to the world? And that may even shift the way the relationship dynamic is. I've seen a lot of couples that were on the brink of divorce, and really it was about coming to empower the women, empowering themselves. And when they stopped giving away that power, it was like the dynamic shifted, and they were more attractive to their partners, and the sex got better, or it didn't, and it was crystal clear for both parties, and they both felt safe to call it a day.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I got the sense of this is a full circle. So we started with, it's not about the other person. What is it that you bring into the relationship? And
Yep.
we finished with, it's not about the other person. What do you need to do for yourself in this?
Exactly.
Yeah. So just something I noticed.
I love that.
Yeah. So it all comes back regardless. When it comes to love, it's about loving yourself, and then the rest falls into place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's easy. When we take the pressure
easy
off that other person, they actually get to enjoy our presence, and we enjoy theirs.
Yeah. So any last words about meeting the one, like with using your intuition, and how do you know, and all that good stuff?
One of them is going to be a totally superficial tip that works.
Well, hey, we'd like to keep it simple, right?
Wear fabulous underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Like exceptional. Do not wear your holy period underwear on these dates, ladies.
Yeah. Throw those away. Those should have been out with the decluttering exercise.
Exactly. So that's just a purely practical tip. On another level, I would say recognize that you are already the one that you're seeking.
Beautiful.
And so it just becomes about an offering. And know that there are many people out there that will match your vibration depending on how you're treating yourself. So really, look at yourself in the mirror and say, who do I want to be? Be that person, even if you don't believe that you're her yet. And the world will start to mirror that to you in terms of the men that the universe is bringing. Mm-hmm. And then you make a choice. We always have the power of choice. And if there's any part of you that thinks it's too late, or, you already met your soulmate and he's with someone else, just open to the possibility that that is a crappy thought.
Yep.
And that there's another space that can be created for the perfect partner because he's already been selected.
That's right. Yeah. And you've grown, so you're not going to attract that old soulmate.
No. And if you do, you will go running for the hills and bless them.
That's right. You want somebody as fabulous as you are.
Exactly.
Yes. Awesome.
And wear good underwear.
Yes. Wear good underwear. Love it. That is like the best practical tip I think we've had on the Awaken Goddess show. Okay, so I always like to finish with a couple things. One is to kind of get in your world and hear what you've done in your daily spiritual practice that has really transformed or affected your life in a positive way. So we'll start with that.
I love that question. I journal every single day, no matter where I am in the world. I have done my journaling on napkins. I've done it on tablecloths. And there's no excuse. I need to write for at least 3 pages. It's a way for me to release. It's a way for me to channel and also get some really cool inspiration and peace to start the day. I also, before I go to bed, I have a little piece of paper, nothing fancy, and I write down one gift from the day, and it may be something tangible, like today I'm volunteering at my aunt's elementary school, and the kid gave me an apple. Or it may be something like, I'm really proud of myself for standing up to this person when I really wanted to just shut down. Yeah. Just identifying one thing. So those two activities are non-negotiables, and they're invaluable in making sure that my energy is high, is bright, and is clean so that I can be available to the people in my world.
Love it. Okay, so let's finish off with, using your intuition, which you have been this whole time, which is awesome. What is something that people can start doing right now? What can they do, like maybe an exercise that's going to help them use their intuition to make better decisions in relationships or meeting the one?
Great. So one thing that they can do is to get a little tiny notepad, like the ones that you can stick in your purse. And whenever you get a gut feeling or a sense, I want you to write down the date, what the feeling was, and then let it go. And then 9 times out of 10, your intuition is right on. And so when it is right on, I want you to put a sticker next to it or a check mark. I call it tracking your intuition, because it's part of training your logical mind to trust your subconscious mind. And the logical mind wants proof. And so that's one tangible thing you can do to just strengthen that muscle and put the mind at rest.
That's great. Yeah, because that kind of feeds both the intuitive part, the wise part, and then the ego, the conscious mind. So that's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, so how can our listeners find you and find out just like how they can get in touch, and where will they find you?
So the easiest place to go is my website, and it's 5starlovelife.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at Dancing Goddess. And I actually have a free gift for everybody on my website. One of the biggest things I've seen is that we don't know how to distinguish between a message from our intuition and what may just be fear or wishful thinking, especially when it comes to love.
Yes.
So I've put together actually a checklist that you can see whenever you get a gut feeling or you think it is it really? And so it's just something you can keep in your purse to help you really trust yourself. And you can get that for free at my website.
Ooh, I'm going to check that out today.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me, Angela. This has been so much fun.
Yes, my pleasure. Well, thank you so much, Gianna, for joining me today to talk all about love. And I wish all of our listeners, bounds of love and, finding the one and just really following your heart, opening your heart, and knowing that you're worthy of the love that you really want. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to the Awakened Goddess Show. If you enjoyed the show as much as we did, make sure to subscribe on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review. And until next time, goodbye everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Awakened Goddess. I hope you enjoyed today's show and took away something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at thegoddessnextdoor.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.